On this episode of Tiger Vision, we look at a bakery with an inspiring backstory, ride along to see the action behind the Newton police, and sit down with a local scientist who's just become an international legend. These stories and more on this episode of Tiger Vision.
Hi, and welcome to this March episode of Tiger Vision. I'm Erick Heyer-Fogelberg.
And I'm Tianna McToggart. With each episode, we aim to bring you the best stories that spark interest within our own Newton or community.
First, Evyatar Gershon takes us to a local bakery that will leave you breathless with both its pastries and unique backstory.
Food is something that everyone loves. But through the formalities of the appetizer, first course, and entree, we all wait patiently and eagerly for the all-time favorite, dessert. What many of us don't realize, however, is that this love for dessert is something that both the people and the bakers share. One especially unique and homey bakery in the heart of Newton Center, Galette's Treats, brings a communal love for dessert to a whole new level.
We knead the dough with our own hands. We make everything from scratch. My pastries were made with love and they get a hug from me. So when you come in into my house. This is why we started this, just to make others happy. And we're giving back to the community that way.
It's true that the community loves what Galette provides with her joyful and generous presence behind the counter and in the kitchen. But it wasn't always that way. After the loss of her 17-year-old son, Galette says there was a period when she and her family found it very hard to keep up with their family customs.
So after Rowie died, I couldn't go into the kitchen. I didn't bake, I didn't cook. I physically didn't enter my kitchen. And for 2 years, my daughters have been asking me to bake and to cook as I used to. We dined every night outside. We had friends bringing over food for us. And then one day during December vacation, we went into the kitchen together after the girls promised me they're not gonna let go and they're staying there with me. And we started baking. And we baked so much. We baked challah bread and rugelach, the things that Rowie loved the most. And we baked so much and we couldn't eat it all. So we went around Newton and Brookline to all of our friends' house and we left them a bag, a white bag, saying Shabbat Shalom on it from the Gritmans. And we went back home and the calls and texts came pouring in and everyone congratulated us on baking it, and some asked me, did you ever think about opening your own bakery? And I was a teacher. I never thought of baking. I did it as a hobby. We created an email address together with my girls, bestchallah@gmail.com, because they always said that my challah was the best. Everyone here is helping me to stand up on my feet and keep on coming and baking. I feel like here in this place, we welcome Rowie's spirit in here. So he's here with us in every step of the way. He was part of the process. He was part of the business.
Galette tells me that even 2 years after opening up shop, she still feels blessed by miracles on a daily basis. Miracles that she attributes to her loving son. His all-time favorite foods, challah and rugelach, have become bestsellers in her shop, and the community's inexplicable love for her baking has only been growing.
I'm baking for the entire Newton, Waltham, Brookline communities. the challah that we used to have at home. It fills my heart with joy to see that. My entire family are working very close on this business to make it happen. And it will.
Signing off for NTV. This is Evyatar Gershon.
Thanks, Evie. And next time you're in Newton Center, check out Galette's Treats if you're looking for something sweet or a heartwarming time.
Up next, Aidan, Leary, and Dylan Crook go on patrol with the Newton Police Department to learn the many jobs of the police officers in our community.
By Tianna for an auto accident. No apparent injuries.
Roger.
Newton is often called one of the safest places in the world. As a Newton resident, I see police officers around the city all the time, but often don't know what they actually do. So I decided to find out.
Right now, I'm standing in front of the Newton Police Headquarters because in a few minutes we will be going on a ride-along with a police officer.
Hey, what's going on?
We were assigned to be with Officer Reid Larson, an Army veteran who is now with the Newton Police Force.
Later, Roj.
At the beginning of the day, Officer Larson took us out to the car to go through the pre-patrol checks.
So you gotta make sure your computer unit's working. You gotta make sure that your rifle is in the safe position, it's locked in, shotgun's good to go, and then once everything's on, everything's up and loaded, you can go to the back here. In the back, we got our defibrillator, Narcan that we use for overdoses. We also got like some riot gear as well. Hopefully we never have to use that stuff. And then we got the caution tape to block off, you know, like accidents, crime scenes, that kind of stuff. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it. So my favorite thing about being a police officer is just, you know, waking up every day, putting on my uniform, knowing that I'm serving a good purpose, to make a positive impact and protect the community is a great honor, you know, to have. You know, to do something good for somebody and to see them smile, definitely probably the most rewarding thing of my job.
Early on in the ride-along, we were interrupted by an urgent call from headquarters.
494 Suffolk and Hammond.
Boylston and Langley with the fire for a car fire, notifying state. I'm gonna let him go head over.
So anytime with a car fire like this, you gotta make sure the area is clear. There's gonna be lots of people around, and if that car ends up exploding, we need to make sure that there's no civilians in the area.
6 is off, it's in the Sunoco.
By the time we reached the car, the fire was mostly out.
4 is off.
But we stayed so Officer Larson could finish checking the area and securing it.
Everything's fine, the fire's contained. They're basically just gonna check to make sure that everything is good to go before they actually leave.
With the fire contained, we continued towards our directed patrol.
We're gonna set up a spot where someone usually commits a lot of traffic infractions.
At the traffic stop, we asked Officer Larson about some of the lesser-known challenges of his job.
It's not 9 to 5. I wish it was 9 to 5. You know, I walk my kids out the door, put them in their car seats, and off to go to school, give them kisses, tell them I love them, and then boom, they're gone. Tell my wife I love her, and then she goes as well. So there'll be a couple days on end where you don't see your family at all, and you don't communicate with anybody because you're constantly involved in work. And the other stuff kind of just, you know, like that guy, he didn't stop at all. We're always on our guard no matter what, because in this day and age, law enforcement is negatively looked at rather than positively looked at. Just this year, you know, police officers out on patrol and people coming up to them and shooting them. And it wears on you too. So by the end of the night, you're just mentally and just physically drained from just always being on a heightened sense of alert.
Officer Larson got a call that there was a cardiac arrest in the area.
Roger. We don't know if the person is unconscious at this time, not breathing. But we have a defibrillator in the back, the one that I showed you.
Yep.
Best case scenario, if we get there first, we can use the defibrillator on the person.
Officer Larson proceeded to assist the other emergency personnel to make their jobs easier and to make the call run smoothly.
So that was a call for an elderly party that was in her 80s that was in cardiac arrest. So she was unresponsive, she wasn't breathing. Family members came home and she was already on the ground. Well, let's hope they don't lose her, you know what I mean? Miracles happen.
As the day was coming to a close, we received one final call.
Wajsfelner for an auto accident. No apparent injuries.
When we arrived to the crash site, there were no major injuries.
Kilo 859 again, please.
He was going into this lane, didn't see you coming, and then T-boned you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
You got your license on you?
Yeah. Officer Larson said this is the time when accidents start to occur more frequently because people are racing to get home from work. They're tired, they're hungry. You can see the airbags are all deployed. They're loading his car onto the tow truck right now.
My goal in this department is to always advance, never stay in the same spot. I mean, I love patrol. I want to stay in patrol as long as I can, but I want to do like specialty things as well. You know, like gang unit, narcotics, detective bureau, you know, so on and so on. That's been like a long time goal of mine ever since wanting to join the police force. This job isn't meant for everybody. It doesn't mean that this job is better than anybody else's jobs, you know? It's just that this job takes a different mindset and a different person to be able to do it on a regular day-to-day basis.
We spent 5 hours in the car with Officer Larson, and I think that coming out of this, what we've learned is that this job is something that they truly care about. You don't put your life on the line every day and spend so much time away from your family if you don't care about this city and its people. So keep that in mind the next time you see a Newton police officer. They're giving up a lot of things to keep you safe. So, with that being said, for NNTV, this is Dylan Crook, signing off.
Thanks, guys. The next time you see a police officer on duty, remember to show your gratitude.
Did you know that we have a Nobel Prize winner living here in Newton? Our own Ben Feldman spoke with Michael Rosbash, a 2018 winner, to see what goes into winning this great honor.
On December 10th, 2017, local scientist Michael Rosbash was awarded a Nobel Prize for his research on the circadian rhythm. I interviewed this Nobel Prize winner to learn more about his work.
I was a fairly indifferent student, but science came very easily to me, math especially. So since I was an indifferent student, I did the stuff that came easily, so I didn't have to work very hard. About 8 years after I got to Brandeis, I started this collaboration on circadian rhythms, on biological clocks, with my friend and colleague Jeff Hall, who was just exactly my age, and we had come to Brandeis at the same time, came from very different disciplines. So circadian rhythms are daily oscillations that take place in all animals, and of course all this developed to keep us in harmony with the rotation of the Earth, rising and setting of the sun. It is the timekeeper that keeps us in sync with the outside world, most of which also operates on a circadian or circadia time scale. I've been focusing mostly on the Drosophila nervous system, the brain of the fruit fly, and the specific neurons in the fruit fly that are responsible for circadian control of the nervous system. And there's just 75 pairs of these specific neurons in the fly brain. It's a very small, discrete subset of the brain. We've also been interested in sleep in the fruit fly. That is, how and why flies sleep, with the notion that we'd be able to learn something about human sleep, very analogous to the way we learn something about human circadian rhythm. Being able to reinforce circadian, the clock's function, in other words, fixing jet lag, being able to have people who have weak circadian clocks, the elderly, for example, being able to improve this. But those medicines that could do that are not here yet. So I like what I do, so it's fun, and I've never found anything quite as engaging enough to keep me busy full time. Maybe I'll just keep going until I don't wake up one morning.
Thanks, Ben. Maya and Jaden from our Major 1 class go to a dance studio to learn more about the works of a non-binary dancer.
In dance, movement replaces dialogue, making the expressions of masculinity and femininity essential to storytelling. So what happens when a young dancer doesn't identify as either gender? Meet Max Wittig.
I'm non-binary, and that means that I don't identify as either male or female, therefore non-binary, not part of the binary. I'm currently going by they/them pronouns, and that's been something that I've had to share with a lot of people in my life. It's definitely difficult to compete in dance when the dance world is so gendered, when it's either a male team or a female team. So there's a lot of going back and forth and trying to decide which team I'm going to be on and what sort of costume I'm wearing. So since the dance costumes are very gendered, it's very clear which is the girl's costume, which is the boy's costume. I generally try to go as neutral as possible when I can, but if that's not possible, especially for group dances, then I'll go with whatever's easiest, which is usually the girl's costume. The dance community has been amazing, or at least my part of the dance community has reacted in a really amazing way to me coming out. They've been very supportive, even though it's not necessarily the easiest thing for the dance world to understand.
So how does a choreographer react when they need to create a story with Max as the only dancer?
I think I was just a little nervous because I feel like it's a very sensitive subject these days. I had never choreographed for somebody who doesn't identify with a gender. So I think I really was mostly concerned with making sure that Max felt comfortable, that Max was doing what they wanted to do. Max is very open, very understanding, and very willing to work with me in such a, in such a situation that I've never been in before. Max's approach to it was probably what made it most helpful.
So I think one of the most important things when you're trying to figure out your identity is to just really be comfortable trying things out. It's okay to change your name multiple times. It's okay to think you're one thing and realize you're something else.
Although Max has overcome many obstacles, their love and passion for dance has helped shape them into the person they are today. A dedicated, hardworking, and committed athlete. For NNTV, this is Maya Rabinowitz signing off.
Thanks, Maya and Jaden. Awesome job covering that story.
Yeah, and next, Ben Feldman and Andressa Silva take a look into one of the most popular chocolate shops in the Boston area.
With Valentine's Day approaching, many are looking for presents to give their partners. One popular gift is chocolate, such as the Swiss chocolate sold by Toucher Boston. I interviewed the store manager to learn more about what they do for Valentine's Day.
For Valentine's, we get a very typically male customer base coming in for their husband, these days as well, for their wives usually, and girlfriends. And usually it's a last-minute customer, so we have to be ready for a big rush on Valentine's Day. We changed out our holiday decoration. The flowers come in all fresh and new. And then as you see behind there, all the chocolate hearts with the flower decoration that will make it appropriate for the holiday.
Mr. Leary, explain to me why chocolate is such a popular Valentine's Day gift.
Chocolate evokes feelings of pleasure, so that that's close to romance. It actually sets off little hormones called endorphins in the brain that are pleasure hormones and that are similar to the feelings of love. And with our chocolates, sometimes we involve a little champagne, a little liqueur, and that's also a very romantic item, especially the champagne is. So.
This Valentine's Day, consider going to Toucher's to get chocolate for your loved ones. From NNTV, this is Andressa Silva signing off.
Thanks, guys. Check out Two Shears on Newberry Street for some chocolate for yourself or some last-minute romantic gesture.
Up next, we go back to the holiday season with Caitlin Agnew as she looks into our own school's volunteering program.
Many people say that the holiday season is the most wonderful time of the year, a time to give back to the community and get together with friends and family. Christmas in the City is one place people give back, a volunteer-run effort to bring the holiday cheer to the city's homeless families. I talked to Miss Prager, a teacher at New North High School, who brings our school students to the event each year.
Christmas in the City is actually the name of an organization that started about 29 years ago. It's put on at the Boston Convention and Exhibition Center. It's a huge party for homeless families. So the first thing that happens, there's kind of a red carpet and they come off these buses coming from all over the area. There's activities going on already. There's entertainment on a stage. And when the eating is done, a whole wall opens up to something called Winter Wonderland. And that's a whole huge room of rides and amusements, and then the presents come out.
After learning about the amazing things that are happening at Christmas in the City, I wanted to find out more about how Miss Prager was involved.
I volunteered, and then I had the idea that this would be a great thing to do with my students. So the following year, I mentioned it to my students in my classes, and about 10 or 15 students joined me. And over the years, that number has grown tremendously.
After learning about Ms. Prager's efforts to involve Newton North students, I set off to hear more from these students in person.
It's all about the community, and it's kind of giving or helping out people who are less fortunate than you are.
There's so many different types of people here, and we're all coming together just to help out and really bring the community together.
To everyone near and far, have a wonderful holidays and a happy new year. I know next year I'll be down at Christmas in the City helping out. I hope to see you there too. For Aidan TV, this is Caitlin Agnew, signing off.
Thanks, Caitlin. See Ms. Prager for more information on next year's Christmas in the City.
And lastly, our very own Tianna McToggart sat down with the owner of a local artisan shop to see how local artists sell their work.
Meet Greg DiBiaso, one of the owners of Artitude.
Artitudes is a gallery of American-made, Canadian-made, handcrafted work. I do carry just a handful of imported items from Guatemala, Colombia, and most of those I send back all of the proceeds to a fundraising, for example, in Guatemala, it's for a safe house to get children off the streets of Guatemala. And I've got some artists from California. I had a wood turner from Alaska. So all over North America. About 15% of the work we have here is greater Boston area. Local. I have several people right here from Newton.
Meet Ramone Janeskis, one of the local artists of Artitudes.
I'm a local craftsperson. I sell my crafts there. I make ornaments that are mermaids and angels, and I make flower pins and cat and dog pins. So some of this, I don't know if you can see it, work in the background is some work that I've done. I don't sell my merchandise to Artitudes. I actually consign it, which means I give it to them, and then whatever they sell, they pay me for. One of the things I like the best about it, well, there's two things I love about it. One is everything's displayed beautifully there. And the other thing is I never feel any kind of pressure from the owners to buy something like I do in some other stores. So I can spend as much time as I want in there and casually just look around the store.
Artitude, like many other small stores, uses their simple, cozy charm to welcome everyone who walks in.
It's a place for people to come whether they're interested in making a purchase or sometimes just to come into an atmosphere that's stress relieving. I think people who enjoy the arts are from all backgrounds. Sadly, we're moving toward a world where everything's going to be big business, and I think it's very important for us to save the arts in our little way here of having our family-owned store. And we get to bring our dogs here and our daughters here, and most of our customers have become friends. So it's just a place that I've been coming here for so many years and I never get tired of it. We hope to continue to bring in new work from up-and-coming artists as well as established artists.
Next time, you're looking for a one-of-a-kind gift? Stop by Artitudes. Reporting for NNTV, I'm Tianna McToggart, signing off.
Thanks, Tianna. Also, if you're in West Newton, check out Artitudes for some local fun and artistic shopping.
Stories are everywhere, and we aim to bring you the best. So if you see a story around, send it to us at newtonnortv@gmail.com.
Yeah, or you could just hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And that wraps up this episode of Tiger Vision. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next few weeks.